And Tricia, maybe you can just give us an overview of the long journey that you've had with Joe and kind of from beginning to end and things that you guys tried.
And you can jump in if I forget anything too. So I can't remember everything without my computer in front of me. So I started here in 2016, and we've been seeing each other ever since, really. And that was, things were different years ago. I say that like it's many years, but the guidelines were different then. So where we are now compared to where we were then is drastically different, and it was considered okay then, or at least within guidelines at the time. So I kind of took over from a different provider here. I think you used to see Candace, maybe, if you remember her. So I just kind of for a long time continued the regular treatment regimen, which at that time consisted of high dose opioid that you'd been on for several years, I think, at that point. So
several years, yes.
Slowly the guidelines started changing some, so we kind of were forced to start taking a look at things and find other alternatives to the opioids, of course, and then start weaning them, which didn't go so well originally, and it was a tough journey. But we kind of like he said, monitored monthly or sometimes weekly and bi-weekly, just trying to get on track and just really trying to brainstorm and figure out, what was best for you and how we were best going to help you, while also complying with all the guidelines. So we really just kind of took a look at things, and we would go down a little bit, little by little, as you tolerated.
Yes.
Trying to keep you working full time.
Mm-hmm.
And we tried to really, I think it was a matter of, I think personally, finding what motivated you.
Yes. Yeah, you offer so many alternatives. We tried with Dr. Binger injections.
Mm-hmm.
We tried the doses. We were always going lower, which was a good progress, because we knew we couldn't stay on those kind of drugs for
Right.
forever, whether it was legal or illegal, whatever. It was not doing my body any good.
Well, and you weren't really then awesome. You were still hurting. On all those medicines and still hurting.
Yes.
So.
And then it got up to December of 2017, and we were getting lower and lower, and then I made a big jump of just getting down completely and trying to. So where do I stand pain-wise in the back? And we found out that a lot of things that I didn't have my back pain was there, but I also had neuropathy in my legs from my waist down to my feet, and I wasn't
like a brand new finding. Like, whoa, we've been covering this up all this time.
That's right. And we had to deal with that because it was keeping me up late at night. My legs were just shaking at times, and for years, and this is important, is I only got 1 to 2 hours a night sleep, and I knew if I kept that up much longer, I would be probably die sometime of stroke or whatever. And that was concerned was how do we eliminate the pain so I can sleep. I do have a CPAP machine. I do use that, but I wasn't using it
Which
then.
is new. Yeah, you've only been close to a year back on that now, so you weren't using that.
Yeah, and now I'm sleeping 6 to 7 hours a night, and that recovery process means everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a vicious circle we were trying to do, and Trish and I were trying to intervention or cut that somewhere, that cycle where we could get more sleep, get recovery, lose weight. That was a big important.
Well, we got you to the nutritionist, and that was a big.
Yeah.
Like I said, not everyone's motivated, and that you played a huge part in that too, with your motivation and working out. He'd come in and talk about he's not sleeping, so we'd say, let's take your gabapentin at this time. Why don't we exercise on the bike an hour before bed and try to burn out the muscles? And we tried a lot. We've been through a lot.
A lot of things, and it's all good stuff, and it's all part of the whole package. But it started with the pain and getting me off that hard stuff, and then came the stimulator. And, they introduced that stimulator to me way back 2 or 3 years ago. It's been around, obviously. Yeah. And I said, I don't want anything in my foreign object in my back.
And I remember we talked about it almost every visit.
Yeah, and again, she's always patient enough to say, okay.
Don't forget about this.
About that, and eventually it comes to the forefront. We had a decision to make because the neuropathy was so great, and there was nothing we could do to circumvent that. except for this test. And thank goodness there is a test for that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool you get to trial it. Or you mean like the EMG test?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They put a little wire in me temporarily.
Oh yeah, the 1 week trial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the 1 week trial was great results, and I said, let's go for this. And Dr. Minger was fantastic on the surgery part of it, and then the follow-ups with the other group.
With you have an Abbott St. Jude's Burr stimulator, so that's what we trialed him with, and seemed to be successful for him.
And so it went from there. I was in great shape. I could put a high percentage of coverage on this. It's almost, there are days where I have complete no pain at all with the combination of the medicine that I'm on now and the stimulator. And I'm right now continuing to monitor and adjust the stimulator. I'm finding better results even this week as I adjust that. And I'm working practically full time again. I retired in April of 2018. I sat around all summer long just on the deck getting sun. Didn't feel like doing anything. But these kind of treatments motivated me to seek that treatment. I was very successful, and I plan on continuing to work, not so much full-time, but I'm trying to get this job to a part-time position, but I'm at least able to go out there and do things and function as a family man, a leader of the community, and a businessman, and God-fearing person.
You're back to your basketball games.
Oh yeah, let's mention that.
Your distance is longer.
Yes, back as early as last winter, my wife was. We'd go to a lot of spectator sports, and she would drop me off in front of the gymnasium, and then she'd go park the car. And now, this past basketball season, I parked the car and dropped her off at the entrance, and I can walk back and forth to the gym and just feel just normal as ever. And that means a lot to me and my family.
So do you think maybe just doing those normal things that people would think are normal tasks, I mean, that's been the biggest change?
Just normal activity is enough to, be so invigorating, and plus you're burning calories just doing the normal stuff. All the normal things I do around the house, and I'll get out and play some golf again and everything like that, but that in itself will bring me back to kind of a normality that I once knew back when I was only 40 years old, and that's how long it's been. And it's just a wonderful feeling at my age now that I have the energy. It's springtime now, so I couldn't feel better.
Good, perfect. Tricia, Joe was kind of like you said, he was very motivated, and he really needed to make the steps in order to move forward with other treatment options. You see patients every day, so I mean, is there anything that you could think of, patients that might be scared to maybe get off the opioids or something, and maybe just kind of use this
and
as
that's probably a good point, fear, because you're used to the same thing for 15-20 years, and I'm sure you experienced the same. I really feel like if I came in and did your visit and we didn't talk about your goals and what motivated you, and I mean, we might not be here. I mean, I think it really takes a like you said, patience and listening and trying to figure out, but you too, you were willing to do those things. It's not always the case where everybody comes in and they want to do physical therapy, or it's hard to tell someone, hey, you're overweight, your knees are screaming, it hurt, your back's screaming, and so you were receptive to, I think we just kind of hit it off, and we have a pretty good relationship, provider to patient as far as that goes, and I think you trust me and I trust you, and everything I've asked you to do, you've done.
That's right.
It's made it much easier, certainly, every time I put a referral out there and say, hey, let's try therapy, Joe. Let's get back with the trainer, Joe. Ride your bike more, Joe. And, I'm sure you're not perfect, as none of us are. But I can always tell you're trying, and even when you're not doing the right thing, it makes me want to keep trying with you and try to find a different alternative or a route to go down. That's going to be best for you, because one thing's not going to work for you that works
No.
for her or for her. You know,
No.
it's all different. And if we can discuss that, you know, we've had some heated conversations in those rooms before.
Yeah.
So.
We've left on, it's conversations that were tough and right to the point, and she was stern when she had to be, and she was eased up when I needed that, and it was a great combination, and it's working, and you don't get that kind of treatment everywhere.
Aw, you're sweet.
Well, thank you, Joe. We appreciate it. And you want to give one final kind of overall experience as far as you've been in with the clinic for a long time. So kind of, you know, your overall experience with Tricia and IPC in general.
Oh, and just outstanding. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for this clinic and Tricia and Dr. Binger. I wasn't expecting this. I thought we were at the end of the line. But we worked, and I just have high honors for this organization.
Well, thank you. That means a lot.
Yeah, it does. Makes us feel like we're here doing what we're hoping to do, that we're succeeding.
You are in this case, and I'm sure there's others that I know that you have to go through a lot to get there, but it can happen. So
Yeah.
Well, continued success for you then. And
Yeah, absolutely.
thank you.